on YouTube, Zero Lead here, and I'm back with a new video in almost a year. And today we're going to be doing a tutorial on the Discovery era USS Enterprise. I know a couple of you may be excited about this, been talking about doing a tutorial for a long time, and I know that I did the mock tutorial about a year and a half, 2 years ago at this point. A lot of you loved it, got almost 20,000 views on the one video and 12,000 views on the other one. That showed me that you guys wanted more, and you guys commented and let me know that you wanted more, and let me know different things that you wanted, details on the engines, on how to build this thing. We're going to get into everything on how to build this thing from beginning to end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So first thing you're going to want to do when you're building this thing, get as many pictures of the Enterprise as you can get. The more pictures you have, the better, because this is going to be where your detail is. One of the things I did notice as I was going through on pictures is that it looks like some of the details in the ship is different from picture to picture. Like here, there's no, this bar right here is very skinny, and on other versions of the ship you can see here that it's really wide. So be careful of that when you're searching for your what pictures you want to use for the Enterprise. One source that you can definitely use that should be pretty accurate is the Eagle Moss Enterprise. Just search that on Google and that'll pull up a bunch of pictures. I used this largely for the top details of my saucer section. Came out great. So anyway, we are going to start off with our saucer section. First thing you guys are going to want to do here is you're going to want to go on Google and search Pixel Circle Generator. Any Starfleet vessel that you make, or any ship in general that you make that has a circle or a saucer on it, this is going to help you keep it accurate. And our Enterprise, the saucer is about 125 long. Width, height, don't worry about that. Right now we're just dealing with width. But you don't have to worry about typing in that bottom part, just do 125. It'll enter in the second part for you. We're just going to do one high at this point. So we have our pictures of our ship. At this point you've gone through and you've got a pretty good idea of what it looks like. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right in. And that's the Enterprise from Star Trek Beyond, my Enterprise A. There's the Discovery. I actually made a couple of mistakes on Discovery as I was working on it. You can see I actually extended the lower hull out quite a bit, but I never got around to finishing it. Now, I don't have an exact height that you're going to want to go off when you're building your ship, but here's the thing. You want to make sure that you have enough room underneath, not only to build the rest of your saucer, but the rest of your ship, and it's not hitting the ground. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a position where you're going to be deleting ground, or there's going to be water underneath you, and it's just going to be a nightmare. So make sure your blocks are high enough when you're starting this out. So you can see I've got my dark gray block in the middle as my separator, and what I'm doing here is I've already gone ahead and on my phone I've got a screenshot of my Pixel Circle Generator, and we're building this thing out. Now really all you need is, if let's say you cut your circle in 4 pieces like a pie, all you really need is that upper right hand corner of your pie for your circle, and you can repeat that process on all 4 corners without having to basically take down the whole blueprint of your saucer. It'll help you save a little bit of time. Another thing that I want you guys to do when you're building this ship, if you do one thing on one side, go on the other side of the ship and do the exact same thing. Think of it like this: if you're looking at the front of your Enterprise, technically you're only building half the ship, because you're going to repeat the same process on the other side. if that makes any sense. This is also going to help you keep your ship accurate and is going to stop you from making mistakes on your ship as you go. So if you do one thing on one side and it's supposed to be like that on the other, go on the other side and do that immediately just to make sure that your stuff is accurate. I'm zooming out here, make sure that's good, and we're checking this side. Alright, I've got a couple more to add on this to get my my row in order here to make sure that it's all set. Make sure I'm following the correct pattern, checking along on my phone. If you don't have access to a phone, write the pattern down or take a screenshot of it. Whatever you need to do, but make sure that you go by that pattern. Don't try to wing it, because if you try to wing it, you're going to end up with not a circle. You're going to end up with something other than a circle. And I've been building starships on here for, geez, it's going on 10 years now. And every single time I've tried to wing it, it doesn't come out right. So just do yourself a favor and use the circle generator. It'll help you in the long run. So we've got a good corner of the ship done. One thing I was considering doing was fast forwarding this, but I noticed as I did the screen capture, it was slightly laggy here or there, so I didn't want it to get too laggy, so I'm actually just going to break this up and do it in real time. If I have to split the video up, I'll split the video up, but I'm going to give you guys a full unedited build from beginning to end. Alright, so you can see both sides. I'm doing what I do on one side, I go and I do on the other. Again, this is helping us to keep our saucer accurate. And as you can tell, I'm not building in a dark gray. I'm not building in white either. The reason why I decided to do this, I know that the Discovery Enterprise is a little bit darker, but part of the build is going to require half slabs, and it'll look really weird white on dark gray. So I decided to use that off-white / cream. And this, unfortunately, is one of the more boring parts of the build. It's going to take up the most time, but I'm telling you, it'll be worth it in the end. Take your time when you're building out your saucer. Slow and steady wins the race. We're going for detail here and basic geometry to making sure all the angles are correct. Following these steps, again, is going to make your ship come out spectacular. Some people ask me what blueprints I use, where I'm finding these, and I wish I had something I can upload for you to give you just a quick rundown to build this, but the truth of the matter is I build these from scratch. And I've used blueprints as a reference in the past when I've built the other Enterprise. I didn't on this one because at this point this is technically my third Enterprise, because I built the 2009 Enterprise, I built Enterprise A from Star Trek Beyond, and now the Discovery era Enterprise. So I pretty much know where everything's going to go. Now, I know somebody's going to eventually say something in the chat and give me crap because either my ship's too small or it doesn't match the blueprints or something's different on the interior. And I simply say for the Discovery Era Enterprise, I challenge you to find a 100% accurate deck-to-deck, room-to-room interior of the Enterprise, because that does not exist. So we're not going to worry about this now. This video is just primarily just going to be on the structure of getting our saucer together. Now, one of the things I did not mention is this is going to be a multi-part video series. I mean, this is honestly one of the reasons why I haven't done this video at this point, because I knew the amount of work that this was going to take. So far I'm 50 videos in and I'm not even done. I've only started the interior on the ship and I'm already at 50 videos. So you guys have got some content to look forward to coming up. Anyway, going back to what I was mentioning about the interior is you're going to have a hard time getting your interior to be accurate 100%. And even if you're lucky enough to find a blueprint of the Discovery Enterprise, when you're looking at this thing, you're going to be scratching your head trying to figure out, what am I going to do with all these empty rooms? Because you're literally looking at a blueprint. You're looking at a box of a room. It doesn't show you what's inside of it. It's just showing you the walls. So I didn't do that. My ship is a lot smaller, and what I ended up doing was, like with my Enterprise A, I blended the original series Enterprise, the movie Enterprise with the Shatner era, the 2009 reboot by J.J. Abrams. I found every single picture basically I could of the interior of the Enterprise, and I used that as my source material to build this thing as accurate as I possibly could. Now, there's going to be some variations depending on which era you're in, so I just use some artistic flair at that point, or artistic creativity. And that's going to be the other thing too. You know, don't worry about this thing being 100%. Have some fun. You know, make your Enterprise however you want at the end of the day. But if you want some pretty good detail in your ship without having 50 decks of empty rooms, stick with me to the end of the series, and I'm going to show you guys how to do some pretty cool things. Anyway, you can see we're moving along here. We're cooking with peanut oil, as they say. We got almost half the circle done, and this is just the first line. So much to do. Alright, let's go to this other side and we're going to get this rolling. Let's see. Oh my god, I'm so close to the halfway mark. Got about 23 minutes to go on here. Now, if you guys are just going along to get the rest of your circle done, if you want to skip ahead a little bit in the video, skip ahead a little bit to see what I'm doing further on. Because at this point you can see I'm making my X in the middle. This is important. Once you get to half, you're going to want to draw your X out in the middle of your circle. This is going to be another thing to help keep you accurate. Anyway, if you want to fast forward a little bit, fast forward and check me out at what I'm doing later on, where you're at. So moving on, now we're getting ready to complete the second half of our circle. I went a little bit far out there, but I'm not going to worry about that point because we're going to pick up from the corners that we left off at. Technically, if you wanted to, on the opposite end of where I started, you could count out to the left here. Just count this out, go this way, and you could even start off this side if you wanted to. Okay. So here we go. We're going to bang out the rest of this. Let's get the rest of the circle done. Now, I haven't quite decided how frequently I'm going to drop these videos. I don't want to put them out too frequently to the point where I've caught up with myself. Where I'm at currently on the ship build, I'm working my way on the interior. The outside of the ship is actually just about completely done. There's a few things I have to do interior wise. So the thumbnail that you're looking at, or that you saw when you clicked on this video, is what the finished ship looks like. I did that on purpose because I know that some people, when they watch videos on YouTube, they hate when they click on a picture and it doesn't match what it is. So I wanted to hold off, as excited as I was to put this video out, until I had the outside done so I could take a proper screenshot for you guys. So I hope you appreciate that and seen somewhat of the finished product, but maybe not too much of a spoiler there, because there's still some cool stuff to see. Alright, zoom out a little bit, check it out, make sure I'm good on both sides. Now, even though you're doing the same thing on both sides, back up a little bit, zoom out like I'm doing, go back and check your work. I know it's going to feel like, especially at this stage of the game, you're like, oh my god, I just want to get this thing done. But just take your time. Trust me, it'll work out in the end. Especially on a ship, when you're doing something this scale, you really want to take your time, because if you don't, you're going to make a mistake. And if you're like me and the OCD kicks in, it's going to bug you until you decide to fix it. So you're looking at twice the amount of work, if not more, to try to fix that, assuming that the first fix actually looks how you want it to look. There's a couple of instances when I was building the ship that I made a few mistakes. Some of them I edited out, but there's a few that I left in because I wanted you guys to see what I did to get around it. And as we're going with this build, if there's something that I don't cover, make sure to drop a comment below. Of course, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoy this video. I definitely appreciate it. I'm on my journey to 1,000 subscribers, hoping that by the end of this season of doing videos on the Enterprise, that we'll have 1,000 subscribers. If we can have up to 1,000 subscribers, that would be fantastic, and I'll actually start doing more tutorials after that, because it'll prove to me that you guys want to see this, and I'll base those tutorials off what you guys have suggested in the comments section. So make sure to let me know how you feel about these videos, if you like them or not, and what ships you want to see me do, or what you want me to cover specifically. And if I get enough, I'll definitely do it, or I'll reply to your comment, because I'm usually pretty active in the comments section. Oh, I made a boo-boo. See? That's one of the reasons why you zoom out. I check both sides, making sure you're doing the right thing, because you can slip up and think that you're doing right and you're not paying attention, and you make a mistake. sure that we're following along with our pattern. Getting there. We're almost finished with the wireframe for our saucer. And that's something that you guys have heard me say previously in my ship builds, that I tell you guys to wireframe your ship out. I'm going to show you guys how I do that. And it all starts with the saucer. Saucer will make or break how your ship build comes out, because your saucer dictates how big the rest of your ship is going to be. Because different Federation ships, depending on the era, what series, they vary in size. Like for example, the Kelvin era Enterprise, the saucer is huge. The rest of the ship is a little bit, smaller, kinda, in some areas, not so much on the engines. But Discovery era Enterprise, the saucer is slightly smaller as compared to the Enterprise A. So, like I said, saucer makes it or breaks it. And we are moving along here. Let's see. Okay. Double checking, making sure that our pattern is correct. Alright, we are getting there. We're almost done. Now, when we get finished with our ring, we're going to make the outside layer of the saucer section 3D. We're going to add a couple of layers to it. Now, if you looked at your pictures of your Enterprise, you notice that the saucer cuts in at an angle very similar to the Enterprise A or the Constitution refit. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And we'll get into that. Let's go ahead and finish up this circle. I know I've been a little scatterbrained. I know I was saying previously that I'm not sure how frequently I'm going to put these videos out, but I think it's going to be a couple of times a week at least, just so I can keep you guys up, so you can get your builds finished in a reasonable amount of time, but also maybe space them out enough to where I can actually get some stuff done. I might even actually put them out every day. Let's see what happens with this first video. If I hop on tomorrow morning and I log in and there's already a crap ton of videos, I might just, or excuse me, a crap ton of watches on it, I'll probably just go ahead and upload the next one the following day. And we're getting there. We got about 13 minutes left on the build. So now you guys can see I finished my X. I took off the access to the left and I built out in the very middle about 4 or 5 blocks going up and down, just to get an idea of height. That's not going to be an accurate height at this point. I'm just putting something there to be there. So let's go ahead and add another layer. We're going to add one below. So you don't want it to be the same height going straight down. Cut back one. This is one of the ways we're going to fool you into seeing the ship in 3D. One of the things I do, I don't like to build my ships very pixely. I have my ships usually cut in very sharp lines, or as sharp as I can make them with blocks. But I always, my point that I'm trying to make is I always stick to a pattern. So doing that right here, this is what we're doing. We're making sure that all the blocks that we're putting down, we're not doubling up behind them, because we're going to end up doing another row below this and cutting in again. The reason we're not doubling up behind them is because you just don't want excess blocks hanging around behind it, because it can mess you up. And you can see that there's a couple of times that I've done this on here. I'm not so worried about it on the video because I've done enough of these ships that it doesn't mess me up, but it's just a suggestion for yourself when you're making this. If you don't need the block there, get rid of it, because God forbid you have to delete something and you're going by the rule of thumb, if I delete one thing on one side, I have to do it to the other. Maybe you come across that mistake and it messes your build up a little bit. Okay. And this part is actually going to be a little bit easier. The worst part about this is when you're building out your rings the first time from your pixel circle generator. That feels like it takes the longest because you're trying to go off of your pattern and making sure it's correct. But once you have that pattern down, you start layering it out. You start cooking with peanut oil and kicking it into high gear, and you really can go through the layers much faster than the initial one. I've had somebody ask me in the comments section how thick I usually make my saucer section. Usually minimum, we're talking 7 high. And you might think that 7 high is a lot, but you have to think that you want enough room inside your saucer to where you can build above you to add your lights or whatever else, cover that up if need be, and also below you. And also if you want to fit in the automatic doors, which we're eventually going to get into on how to do that. But that's going to be something down the road when we're in the interior portion of this tutorial, and we will get into that. I'm going to show you guys how to have your swooshing doors just like on my Enterprise A, and it's going to end up looking pretty cool. I've already gotten some of my interior done. I've started on the hallways. I've already mapped out all the hallways and everything, and it's coming along pretty good. I think you guys are going to like what I came up with. I was lucky enough to find some interior shots of the Enterprise Discovery era of the corridors. That was great. I was able to make some really cool corridors, and I got some pictures of the bridge, and there was a few screenshots I was able to snag from the Star Trek shorts that they had. And I think what I'm going to do is use the sick bay from the Discovery. And that's one thing that I may end up doing as well with other things on this ship, that if I don't like how it came out, or if I borrow something from the Enterprise A and I don't like how it came out, I might borrow it from the Discovery, because I noticed that the corridors on the Enterprise were basically a repurpose of the Discoveries, just painted a different color, gray and red, and then dark gray. So not going to see me do that too much, but there's going to be, may end up being 1 or 2 things that we borrow from Discovery just because we have no choice. Now when the new truck show with Pike comes out and they start showing more of the interior, if I've already gotten, I'm sure at that point I'll have my interior portion of the tutorial done by then, because if I'm releasing these every day, we'll probably be done with this in about a month or two. But my point is that I will go back and I'll probably redo portions of my interior to match the show, because that's something I want to do. I want to try to keep it as accurate as possible, but for the sake of this build, we're not going to stop and wait for the show. We're just going to go forward full ahead and improvise where we have to. So I'm cruising along, we're checking out this bottom half here, making sure that it looks good, didn't make any mistakes. Basically what I'm looking at is the top portion, making sure these bottom blocks, the cuts, match the top part. And that's something that you can do to look for your mistakes when you're cruising on through here around your ship to check your work. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to jump into and get that extra row going. Now you can see where that one block is overlapping. I'm going up to that cut. Make sure that you're doing that too. Go up to the cut, go in. And these first couple of layers, do this in that off-white. Because this version of the Enterprise does not have rings going on the side of the saucer. It does, but technically at the bottom. And we'll either get into that. I don't think we're going to have enough time to get into that in this video. It's probably going to be the next one. Going back here. I was going a little bit fast there. If you're going a little bit fast, you're not sure, just go back and double check. Again, that'll save your behind later on from making a mistake. Oh, messed up there. Fix that. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to ask me why I'm not building this in real time and trying to provide the commentary as well. I've done that in the past, and I did that with the mock tutorial, but I've decided that with the ship this size, I wanted to focus on the actual build itself, and then I'll add the commentary in later on. So this way I can focus on talking about what I'm doing, and as I'm going through these, I'm going to be looking at the comments as I'm talking about this stuff, answering questions, going into more detail as far as what I've done and what you can do to get that whatever it it is that you're trying to come across done on your ship. So we're going along here, moving forward. We're getting there. We're almost done with our third row, and that's probably end up wrapping up this portion of the video. Again, in the next part of the video, we're going to finish up our outside ring portion of our saucer, and then we're going to start moving on and working on other portions of the ship. We'll wire down our neck, and then we'll start working on our lower hull as well. Okay, just checking things out, making sure everything's right. It's one of the things I don't like in Minecraft. I feel like at some angles you look at it and you're building and you pull away. I feel like it should come with me, but it just doesn't register for some reason. It gets annoying sometimes when you're building. So you can see I'm just putting them down one at a time. And when I did this live, I mean, my finger hurt so bad afterwards, because it just, for whatever reason, stopped wanting to just place them down in that rapid fire like before. Alright, as you can see, we got 3 rows done, and we got like 10 million things left to do. We're going to zoom up here, take a look at everything. It's looking real good, and you can see the cut going in at an angle. When it's done, it'll look really good. The saucer will look really nice the way it's cuts in, where you just go one in. So anyway, this is going to wrap up this first portion of our video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I enjoyed making it, and like I said, the best is yet to come. We've got a lot more to get out to you guys. As you can see here, these are all my videos. I'm up to 49 videos so far, and that's on saucer detail on the outside. I don't even want to show you everything what I've worked on. Anyway, thank you very much for sticking with me. I hope you guys stay with me through this season of building a Discovery-era USS Enterprise. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, comment below. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.